Without me, you're nothing. That's what he told me, straight-faced, like it was guidance instead of a threat. I probably could have ignored it, until his wife posted yacht photos on Instagram and tagged me. Overnight, a secret weekend invite turned into a public scandal. And I am 29, a flight attendant based in New York. I work endless JFK-LAX red eyes, fold blankets like muscle memory, and try to stretch rent across 2 paychecks. My dream is boring on purpose. Move up to purser, get steady routes, stay invisible. But invisible doesn't survive long when your boss decides you're his new project. That was the moment my ordinary life cracked. NNHE wasn't just some supervisor. He was a senior operations manager. The guy with navy suits, Rolex flashing under fluorescent light, and cedar cologne that hit before you even saw him. He'd help me with schedule swaps, bought me onto premium routes, get me better rest days. He always framed it as kindness. "This is for your own good," he'd repeat, like it was company policy. Honestly, I wanted to believe it. NNTHE envelope came on a Tuesday morning. We were sitting near Hudson News at Terminal 4, espresso machine hissing louder than either of us. He slid it across the table. A harbor pass with the yacht name highlighted in yellow. The paper edge cut against my thumb. "You need real rest," he said, leaning in, voice low. "Salt air, no stress." It sounded like an invitation, but also like a test. I tucked the pass into my locker, behind a spare scarf and my union folder. The key felt colder than usual, scraping against the lock. I told myself I'd say no before Friday. I kept bargaining in my head, like that made it safer. Spoiler, it didn't. Thursday night, I was stirring cheap noodles when my phone lit up. His wife posted a carousel, the yacht at sunset, 2 wine glasses, a cabin reflection. And in that reflection, my tote bag, airline tag visible, uniform scarf peeking out. She tagged my handle, no caption, just a smiley face. My stomach dropped like turbulence. And that's when I knew this wasn't private anymore. NNTHE next morning, the lounge turned into a stage. Colleagues leaned in over coffee, whispering, glancing at me, flipping phones upside down when I walked by. I caught someone mutter, "Forbidden love drama." Another said, "She didn't know, right?" I tried to focus on my boarding pass stack, but every hiss of the espresso machine felt like gossip in code. That was the moment I realized my silence was already an answer. Then he cornered me near the jet bridge. Metal creaked underfoot, jet fuel sharp in the air. "Ignore it," he whispered. "No one believes her spin. Without me, those premium routes vanish." His cologne wrapped around his words. He pressed 2 fingers against the highlighted yacht name, like a signature. I saw our reflection in the porthole glass, me frozen, him smirking. And that was when fear started to taste like anger. NNBY that night. His wife's Instagram had more stories, her voice steady, almost calm. "Some people love the ocean when it's not theirs to love." She never said my name. She didn't have to. The comments filled it in. My phone buzzed nonstop, like it wanted to crawl off the counter. I flipped it face down, but the glow still seeped out. At work, someone said, "She's too sensitive," loud enough for me to hear. Another whispered, "I bet he's done this before." And that was the moment I knew. I couldn't just hope it blew over. And I unlocked my locker, pulled out the blue union folder, slid the yacht pass inside, and snapped a photo with the key in frame. Then I opened notes and typed. Dates, quotes, places. No adjectives, no excuses, just facts. I whispered out loud, "You're not crazy." My voice shook, but the words landed. That was when I decided I wasn't sinking with him. I didn't go to the pier. I went to the crew lounge with the union folder pressed against my side. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. My pulse felt louder than the PA. And that's when I knew I needed someone else to see this. Nia was the obvious choice. She's been flying longer than I've been alive, the kind of person who calls turbulence character building. I laid the folder on the table. "I need to show you something." She didn't touch it. She lifted her phone camera instead. "Document first, cry later." Brutal, but kind. NNWE flipped open the folder. Screenshots of schedule swaps, the yacht pass. His chat threads where he dressed favors up his wellness. Mia looked at the highlighted name and raised her eyebrows. "That's not mentorship," she said flatly. "That's leverage." And that was the moment I let myself exhale. NNSHE rattled off steps like a checklist. Screenshot everything with timestamps, email the union, write a log with dates and direct quotes. No emotions. You're not writing a novel, you're building a case. I scribbled on napkins, logged times like flight numbers. It felt ridiculous and powerful at once. NNBY the afternoon, my inbox held a draft. Subject line, power dynamic concern. Documentation attached. I attached the pass photo, the screenshots, even the card he left in my locker. My cursor hovered over send. Mia tapped my wrist. You're allowed to be brave, quietly, I clicked. That was the moment my fear got a co-pilot. Later, the lounge turned into theater. Someone mirrored his wife's Instagram story onto the big TV. The yacht, the captions, the smile emoji. Then he walked in, cedar smell first. She's making a scene, he announced, even though I hadn't said a word. Louder. She's too sensitive. Every head turned. My stomach nodded, but my hands didn't shake this time. I pulled out the pass and the key, snapped another photo with the TV in the background. That was the moment I realized silence could be loud too. Union protocol kicked in fast. Carla, my rep, called. Calm voice, clipped sentences. Send everything. We'll freeze your schedule, don't meet him alone. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. He texted while we talked. Meet me at Pier 15. Then, don't involve the union. Last line. Without me, you'll be stuck forever. My phone buzzed like a wasp. Carla said, save it, screen record, forward it. I did. That was the moment I stopped shaking. And flying didn't stop. I still had a JFK SFO turn. Gate B28 felt like a stage. Boarding passes slid from the printer. Passengers lined up, oblivious. 2 colleagues whispered by the podium, eyes flicking to me. I pretended not to notice. But mid-board, one mouthed wow, the other yikes. My cheeks burned. I smiled at a toddler instead. And at cruising altitude, cabin lights dimmed. I poured club soda and pulled out a napkin, jotting down his exact words. Without me, you're nothing. I underlined it twice. I tucked the napkin into my apron. It felt like carrying evidence in plain sight. And back in New York, his wife escalated again. A story of the yacht's stern. Women who borrow sunlight. Comments turned vicious. Some pitied me. Some labeled me. My phone vibrated until my nightstand rattled. I screen recorded, saved, forwarded. In notes I typed, I didn't borrow, I was pushed. That was the moment my guilt flipped into anger. And I didn't go to Pier 15. I went to the union office instead. Bulletin boards, stale coffee smell, stacks of binders. Carla spread my evidence like cards on the table. She snapped photos, had me sign forms. From here on, all communication routes through us, she said. I nodded, clutching my thermos like a lifeline. When I left, Mia pressed a granola bar into my hand. Hydrate, eat, you'll need energy. It was mundane and life-saving. In the elevator mirror, I didn't look like prey anymore. That was the moment I realized I wasn't trapped. I was steering. Carla's words replayed. Don't go anywhere you can't leave. Still, his texts came like clockwork. 6:12 a.m. Meet me. Don't let gossip win. 10:47 p.m. HR won't protect you. My phone vibrated like it wanted to sprint away. I ignored him, but the fear stuck. That was the moment I knew. He still thought he owned the script. And Friday, the lounge turned hostile. Phones flipped over when I walked in. Someone whispered, CEO affair scandal. Another muttered, she asked for it. My chest tightened, but then he arrived. Cedar cologne again. She's making a scene, he said, pointing at me, even though I was silent. Then louder. She's too sensitive. Heads snapped toward him. And that's when I knew I wasn't the one exposed. And I pulled the blue folder from my tote. Union has this. HR has this. My voice was flat, steady. He laughed. HR won't believe you. This is nothing. The toxic certainty filled the room. Mia mouthed, record. I tapped my phone, NNHE leaned in, whisper sharp. Without me, you're nothing. The lounge carried the sound, bouncing off walls. I didn't answer. I just held my phone higher. That was the moment I realized. He'd written his own ending. Carla called hours later. HR was launching a formal review. They'd already flagged suspicious route swaps, perks labeled as wellness. Carla's voice was calm. It's not if, it's when. I sat at my kitchen table, peeling a water bottle label, condensation soaking my fingers. Fear still sat heavy, but now it shared space with relief. NNTHAT night. His wife posted again, her voice over the yacht lights. Some people think silence saves them. It doesn't. She never said my name, but every comment did. My phone buzzed like it had a heartbeat of its own. I recorded, saved, filed. For once, the internet wasn't humiliation, it was evidence. That was the moment I stopped dreading the notifications. Union reassigned me to Miami flights. Humidity wrapped my hair, hotel rooms smelled like bleach. Safer but isolating. Crew texts trickled in. Stay strong. He's done this before, hasn't he? I screenshotted, archived, filed. The folder grew fatter. NNHR requested a statement. I walked into a conference room colder than an airplane cabin. Legal pads, water bottles, silence. I spread my folder, yacht pass, screenshots, his texts. I read my logs like safety demos. No flair, just facts. When I repeated his line, "This is for your own good," one lawyer looked up sharply. That was the moment I knew they heard what I'd been hearing all along. And Saturday night in Miami, an email landed, "Let's end this quietly. Blogs will ruin you." Unsigned, just initials. I forwarded it instantly to Carla. Subject line, attempted NDA. She replied in 4 minutes. Logged, do not respond. My fries went cold. My spine didn't, and back in New York, whispers shifted. Less gossip, more questions. Are they really investigating? Will he come back? I walked through the lounge with the folder heavier than ever. Not from weight, from proof. That was the moment I understood. I wasn't just surviving. I was testifying. HR hearings feel nothing like TV. No drama, no shouting. Just blinds closed, voices steady, pens scratching. Carla sat beside me. Across the table, 3 HR reps, 1 lawyer, empty coffee cups. They read back transcripts. They played the lounge recording. His whisper, "Without me, you're nothing," echoed through the speaker. The room went dead quiet. That was the moment I knew. I wasn't a rumor anymore. NNHE walked in late, tieless, eyes darting. Tried to smile at me. I didn't look. He launched into his script. Mentorship, wellness, misunderstanding. It almost sounded rehearsed, until he slipped. She should be grateful for the routes. Carla's pen stopped mid-word. So the perks were conditional? She asked. He stumbled. No, I mean... But the silence after his words killed his defense. It only unraveled from there. Afterward, leadership released a corporate statement. Investigation concluded, corrective action applied. Cold words, but we all knew the translation. He was gone. Removed from rosters, stripped from Slack, vanished. No more cedar cologne in the lounge. No more envelope slides. Relief isn't fireworks. It's just air that finally feels breathable. NNHI's wife sealed it on Instagram. A final story. The yacht, empty, sun sinking. Caption, some captains sink themselves. It went viral, turned into think pieces. People framed it as poetic justice. Strangers messaged me, stay strong. I didn't reply. I just saved the image. That was the moment I felt closure arrive sideways. And at home, I opened the folder one last time. Napkin logs, screenshots, the yacht pass, the locker card. I slid them into a larger envelope labeled closed. The locker key felt dull now, not sharp. I dropped it in a drawer. The click of wood closing was louder than his threats ever were. That was the moment I realized. I'd taken the controls back. Vindication isn't fireworks. It's quieter. It feels like stepping off a red-eye. Light too bright, body buzzing, head hollow. I didn't feel like I won. I felt like I survived. That was the moment I knew. Movies lie about endings. NNTHE Lounge changed. Colleagues stopped whispering when I walked in. Someone even saved me a seat by the window. Mia passed me her thermos one morning. "You're still here," she said simply. I nodded, gripping the metal warm against my hands. Survival doesn't look glamorous. It looks like Coffee and THE Union sent updates in code. Resolution reached. Corrective action applied. Translation, he's out. My locker smelled like fabric sheets again, not cedar. The silence was finally neutral, not loaded. That was the moment I knew. Absence can heal. NNHI's wife's final yacht story kept circling. Articles titled "Boss Romance Gone Wrong" or "CEO Scandal Exposed by Instagram." My tote in the reflection became a symbol for strangers. Some pitied me, some blamed me. I stopped reading. Instead, I jogged by the East River, folded uniforms sharp, brewed my coffee on time. Routine became rebellion. NNTHE folder stayed in my drawer, fat with receipts. I didn't need to look. Just knowing it was there steadied me. The locker key dulled beside it. No longer weapon or threat, just a reminder. That was the moment I accepted. Survival is paperwork as much as courage. Months later, Carla called. Case closed. Policy updated. Your file became precedent. I tapped my pen against a napkin, listening. No perks without disclosure. No route swaps without 2 signatures. My story was now bullet points and training modules. Not gossip, not scandal, policy. And that mattered. Nemia teased me after a late Boston turn. You're immortalized in PowerPoints. I laughed. Better that than yachts. We clinked ginger ale cups. For the first time in months, the laugh didn't catch in my throat. That was the moment I felt free. NNBUT healing is jagged. Cedar cologne in duty-free still makes my chest clench. Trauma hides in smells. When it hits, I grip my tote strap and remind myself, he's gone, I'm still flying. The tote that once betrayed me in a reflection now just holds snacks. Objects lose poison with time. I don't call myself brave. My hands shook every step. Fear lived in me. But courage isn't absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. I acted anyway. That was the moment I redefined courage. And now, when new crew join, I tell them, save everything. Notes, emails, even napkins. Union folders are life jackets, not just paper. Some nod politely, some roll eyes. That's fine. Seeds don't sprout all at once. Sometimes I scroll back to the yacht photo. The empty deck, sunset bleeding behind it. Caption: some captains sink themselves. It became a meme. For me, it's a reminder. Silence doesn't protect power forever. Receipts do. NNSO, that's my story. A boss who mistook power for romance. A wife who weaponized Instagram. A union folder that became my anchor. I stayed when I wanted to vanish. I documented when I wanted to scream. And somehow, I'm still flying. Would you have gone to the yacht, kept silent, risked the scandal? Or would you have done what I did? File, fight, and let the truth drown him instead?